This laptop is thinner, quieter, and it's cooler, but it's also packing in faster components than its predecessor, so I'm loving the new Alienware X15 gaming laptop. Hey s'mores, welcome to Morse Code. This is the new Alienware X15. It's the 2021 edition. This just came out and it's the newest in Alienware's line of gaming laptops. Now I have had 3 different models of these so far, most recently being last year's 15-inch model, which still works perfectly, so I can directly compare the two. Now ever since I saw this model at the announcement earlier this year, I was so excited to get my hands on one, and now that I've got her in studio, I have been using this thing for day-to-day tasks, editing videos, and some gaming as well. I would say this laptop is almost perfect. There are a few caveats that I would like to see changed in the next release, but nothing that would keep me from buying this machine. Since I am commonly traveling during normal years for work, for conventions, having a portable editing machine is a must, and I always have to have one on hand. And this is a portable editing machine. In fact, I just took it to VidSummit for editing on the go, as well as for my presentation while I was there. So there are 2 different versions, the X15 and the X17, which is the bigger brother. They both come with lots of customizable options that will increase that price, but even the base model is a pro machine. I have looked up some benchmarks of the X17, and it seems like the biggest difference between these two is the power. The X17 is slightly more powerful than the X15, and it comes with a mechanical keyboard, but the X15 is much more portable. So I preferred this smaller one for convenience, since I'm guessing I will start traveling more as time goes on. So here are the specs for mine. Keep in mind, Dell's site does let you do tons of customizations whenever you buy a laptop from them, so you can always change the features to meet your own needs. With that custom list of specs, mine retails around $3329.99, but the base model is currently $2099.99. Sales are pretty common on Dell's website, so those prices may vary a little bit, so definitely keep an eye out for those. Now before we dig deeper and look at all the specs, a big shout out to Joel, Eddie, April, Dan, and Helpya for joining as s'mores right here on YouTube. There is a little join button down below. You can always support content creators just by watching our videos and subscribing, but if you do want to take it a step further, there's several different ways that you can do so. As far as graphics go, you can get an NVIDIA 3060, 3070, or 3080 Max-Q laptop GPU. It also comes with 16 or 32 gigs of RAM, and there's a few different displays and storage sizes. Whatever you choose though, choose whatever you intend to use. Don't choose with the plan to upgrade the components in the future, because parts like the RAM, for example, are soldered right onto the board. Now while I have the bottom plate removed, let's go ahead and take a look at those components. So as you can see, this is where your SSD storage would go if you want to add additional storage, so you can upgrade that. The Wi-Fi 6 adapter is socketed. The RAM again is soldered to the board. There are these 4 fans located around the edges, and I actually think this is really cool. This is a completely new redesigned thermal process for Alienware. So the fans are dissipating heat using Alienware Cryotech, which is a proprietary engineering approach to thermals and fan control. Each of those quad fans can be independently controlled by the user, and you can spin them up or slow them down depending on whatever your system needs. And you can always control it through the Alienware Command Center, which I know people have feelings about the Command Center. I've used it so often that I'm pretty familiar with it at this point, but it is kind of weird to get used to. You can toggle the fans with FN plus F1, or just open the Command Center and change them in there as well. Now in normal usage, this thing is hecka quiet. I am sure that it helps to have 4 fans distributing the power with lower RPMs than having like 2 fans of the same size, having to bear a heavier workload. So you can get a lot more noise out of them if you do switch up to full speed or performance modes, but even when I'm editing or gaming, they're still much quieter than the predecessor as well. So they are still audible for sure, but unlike previous Alienware laptops that I've had, this one doesn't sound like a jet plane taking off. Performance mode. Disabled. There is a ton of ventilation on the sides next to the keyboard, along the bottom and the back, so the laptop does get plenty of air circulation, even if you sit it on your lap while you are working on it, and it does not get hot on my legs. The only place where I feel lots of heat was distributed along the top of the keyboard where the honeycomb vents are, so nowhere near my fingers or my legs, which was wonderful. The material design feels similar to last year's model, but it does feel more refined. It still weighs around 5 pounds, but it still is slimmer and it's more portable. My ultimate test, of course, is my backpack test. How well does this thing fit in my convention bag? So this is my Peak Design bag, and this one is my Peter McKinnon Nomadic bag, which I just got from VidSummit. So this is easily one of the better designs that I have seen in a gaming laptop, especially with how slim it is. I do consider this laptop to be a very sturdy build quality. For example, it does not flex around. The keyboard doesn't bend whenever I press down on it. It does feel kind of dense, like they used every single inch of area for the components. And when you open it, the hinge is very stiff. It doesn't sway or fall. It doesn't open flat, but it is far enough for my use cases. You can open it up with one hand, though it will lift up the bottom just a little bit. I do like this lunar light color. I think it's really pretty, and the darker contrast around the display and the keyboard looks very cool. It definitely stands out. Neither of the colors pick up a lot of fingerprints, and they have used a high endurance clear coat again for this machine, which does reduce stains from drinks and oils from your hands. There are 2 stereo speakers and they fire downward. They do get really loud, but they lack a lot of bass. It's somewhat tinny. And it's got 2 rubber feet strips to lift it off the surface just a little bit. There's a mic and a 720p webcam found at the top, and it includes Windows Hello facial recognition. And then we have this halo ring light that still exists on the back surrounding the ports. It gets really, really bright, and it does have upgraded lighting effects as well in case you are interested in customizing those. The Alienware heads also light up. There's one on the back as well as near the keyboard, and the one on the keyboard doubles as your power button. It can also show you your battery life using different colors. Then we have this gorgeous touchpad, and you probably noticed, yes, mine lights up. It's so cool. The touchpad is a precision glass touchpad with integrated scrolling. The Alien Effects lit up RGB keypad is only included in the X15 that also has an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3080 GPU. So if you choose one of the other GPUs, it will not come with this light up trackpad. It'll just come with a plain black trackpad. So the trackpad, or the touchpad, however you feel about that, is solid, and I love that it lights up. Is it gimmicky that it lights up? Sure. But I don't care. I love it. I think it looks so dang cool. It's kind of small, but it is really good at palm rejection whenever your hands are on the keyboard so that your palm doesn't end up moving your mouse anywhere. The keyboard is full RGB as well, and each and every key can be programmed separately. I love that feature. The layout has been kind of tricky to get used to. For example, the shift button has a weird placement next to the arrow key, so I have misfired several times, but the keyboard is also very comfortable to use. It gives me plenty of actuation force for the laptop. And I do love the additional entertainment keys found along the right-hand side to control music. That's very, very useful. I wish the secondary buttons lit up as well, but I have got most of them memorized at this point. So here's a list of the ports for both sides as well as the back. Now, having all my ports in the back is very nice and clean aesthetically, but the light makes it a little bit hard to see their placement. I love the full-size HDMI, and I am very glad that Dell included a USB-C Ethernet adapter in the box so I can plug this thing in via Ethernet. That full-size HDMI was a blessing for my talk at VidSummit because the audio video tech folks did not need to worry as much about compatibility. Now, a little side note, there's also a smaller wall charger in the packaging packaging too, and the packaging is also environmentally friendly. I wish they would have went with a full-size SD card slot instead of micro SD card as a creator, because that would have been a lovely feature to have. The only products that I have nowadays that use micro SD is, I think, my DJI drone. That's about it. I bought that thing like 3 years ago, so full-size SD would have saved me from having to carry around another dongle adapter. Now for the display. It's gorgeous. I think it's bright and beautiful. It's not touch. I have got the full HD 360 Hz one, and it looks good in games. So for example, I just started playing Horizon Zero Dawn, which, don't hate me, between the move and the construction, I have been very behind on my gaming wish list, so I'm playing catch up right now, and that's the first one on my list, and it looks so killer on this display. I can't wait to get into this game more. It's super cool. I am really happy with the smooth gaming graphics, and I tend to play my games on the highest settings that I can absolutely get out of a machine before it starts looking really weird. And this one lets me play at those high settings, so I was happy there. Here's a few 3D Mark test scores that I took as well. Editing in Adobe Premiere Pro is so smooth thanks to both the internal specs along with the display. Rendering and exporting a 16-minute 4K video file for my channel took about 10 minutes to finish. That's a worthy option, and it's very comparable to my desktop, which is a 2080 RTX GPU. Battery life was pretty similar to my other gaming beast laptops. Whenever gaming full brightness, full performance mode, I was able to get about 3 hours out of the battery, which is not much. For normal browsing and for work, I was able to get about 4.5 hours out of it if I disable the lighting and lower display brightness and keep it on battery saver. Again, not much. Still pretty low, so I would be keeping this thing plugged in for most workloads. It does include Wi-Fi 6, and since I have a great connection here at home, I was able to get pretty great speeds out of it wirelessly on my home Wi-Fi connection. There are some physical barriers going on in my household, so I think that this was quite good. We are talking about 300 up and 100 down consistently. Wired, I get full fiber connection speeds of 1 gig up and 1 gig down. So I gotta say, I am so happy with this Alienware. This new laptop feels so well constructed, and I just love the little features like the light up touchpad. It's so cool. Now the lighting does not change how well I can game or edit. Let me make that very clear, but I love the aesthetics. There have been times in my life as a woman who does a tech show where people just think that because I complement the RGB beautiful LEDs and the shiny lights, that that's all I care about. But if a machine does not perform like I want it to, then I cannot use it even though it has the really pretty shiny things. I want best of both worlds, not just one, okay? Okay. I mean, who doesn't love a little bit of shiny? I definitely do.